Hey guys, Michelle here from Michelle Creations, and I wanted to show you guys some things that I've been working on. I came across a YouTuber called 49 Dragonflies, and she was showing me some techniques to do hidden paper clips that are ephemera based. And so that prompted me to purchase some of the books from my local Goodwill, as I showed you in my last haul that I picked up. And then the paper clips that I got from my local dollar store, which in fact didn't really work well for this project, and I'm gonna explain to you why. But here are some of the ones that I put together already, and I'm gonna show you how I created them to kind of inspire you if you're interested in doing any for yourself. So here's one. I did use the mini doll, what are they called? Paper dolls from Tim Holtz. The words that you're gonna see throughout what's on my table actually and throughout the video are these K and Company words to go. These are ancient in my mind. It doesn't have a year, does it? Let's see. No, but I can tell you I got this probably in the early 2000s, and they're just cut into different words. As you can see, they're just random words. They are double-sided, so you just pick apart what you want. But getting back to this, so basically I took apart two pieces of paper from my book. I put the paper clip in between. I added some of these ephemera bits that I picked up, again, another Tim Holtz product, and when I find the name I'll let you know. If not, I'll put the link down below in the description. And so they're double-sided. So here's the other side. This side, I did use some rub-ons that I have in my stash, and these came from 49 and Market. I just loved how different collections kind of like blended together, so I thought that was kind of cool. So how this would work is, let's pretend this is a journal page, and you would just feed it through, and the paper clip will essentially just clip on. And of course, if you glue both parts together, that would not help my cause. So it would just clip on like so. And then depending on how your page is, you will have it placed on both sides of your page like that. And it's just a different thing to add, and you just, take it off as such. So I created this one as I just showed you, both sides. And then I made this one here. Now this is from the Temu haul that I showed you in one of my last videos, which is this collection here. So it's just a bunch of different stamps, gave it that thing. You can kind of hint, like really, I guess, vaguely see an indentation here of a flower. That actually came from a Dollar Tree haul that I had done, where the rub-ons were of this kind of option. It's very faint when I rubbed it on, but it kind of gives it that patina feel to me. So I did that. And then on the other side, trying to do away with the shadow here, I used some of my what are they called? I hate when I forget names to things when I'm ready to show and share with you guys. There are, I swear, I'm drawing a blank. I'm so sorry. My stencils. So sorry about that. So I put some stencils in the background. I put some more flowers, went through my word bits and put them here. This particular page from the book didn't have any words on it, so that's kind of why it gave it that blank look. So I wanted to add some embellishments to the underlay of it before I glued it down. So that's this one. Then I wanted to go sideways so that the clip didn't always have to be from the top or the bottom. So what I did was, this collection of rub-ons was from another Dollar Tree haul that I did. And as you can see, a bunch of my remnants are left. And then I put these two ladies perched up against a flower bit, and then I made it as a little banner, and then I inked it up. Now the ink that I'm using in these couple ones that I've shown you is a distress ink that's Vintage Photo. So that's what I've been using on these. And then again, when you flip it around, this is where you have to kind of be careful, because if you're going to insert it this way and you flip your page, right, you want to have it on the same platform. So I wanted to make sure that no matter which way I put my paperclip on my page, it was in the right format. That was just my choosing. If it doesn't matter to you, then you do you. But I just wanted to make sure that you're aware when you're doing that kind of style of a sideways layout, you just wanted to take that into consideration when you're turning the page. So this one I did it where I did another rub on again from this one, and he's kind of perched on top of the flower bud. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I put never too late for a little horsing around. I just thought that was kind of funny. And then this one I did another sideways one, and this was with the Tim Holtz butterflies. Now this one was not with Vintage Photo. I did use the peeled paint in Distress Ink. I thought that was a good contrast with the green hue in the butterfly. And then again, when you turn it this way, you're gonna get this kind of concept. So again, I just put the rub-on number in the back, dressed it up with some additional ephemera, and I just thought that was kind of cute. This one here, I didn't shave the edges off the side. And so this color, what I used was Distress Ink of Faded Jeans. And I thought it went really well with the color purple and the blues in the flower. And I put Captivate with a Kiss. I will tell you, it's kind of fun going through all the words and figuring out if you can make a story or a sentence out of them, or if just one of these would be enough. I mean, some of them, as you saw, was, but I thought that was kind of fun to kind of continuously play with them and figure out with these little mini paper dolls what story I can give them. So I had my fun with that. And then this one, I went through a different ephemera pack for the hand. I believe that's called Field Notes, if I'm not mistaken. I have like a ton of them on my desk right now, so they might be jumbled, but this flower is from the same flower pack that you've been seeing. And then this number rub-on is from the number one I just showed you. And again, I put Paradise. So that's this one. I got a few more before we show you how I made these. And so this one was very simple. I think this was one of the beginning ones I did, trying to figure out my groove. So this one I put Things I Love About You. So it can actually go this way or this way, because it depends on how you're viewing your placement. And then on the other side is Forever Young. And again, very simple, nothing, you don't have to go all in. You know, sometimes less is more. So I just wanted to give it a little subtle touch to it. And then this one I have here, Old Flame. I felt like it was appropriate with this red burgundy, orangish red butterfly. I just thought that was kind of cool. And then when you turn it over, you have another rub-on. Now this rub-on came from the Dollar Tree rub-on pack. That's this one. I just basically cut it out from the bottom. And then I added one of the flowers. So that's what I've been working on, and so I kind of want to show you how I do this process. I will link the person's video that inspired me to do some of this stuff in case you want to watch what she does and learn from her, or again, you just take from what I did. So I'm basically just going to rip out 2 pages from the book. It doesn't really matter unless you're paying attention to the words that you're focusing on. And I say that because one of the ones I did, let me show you real quick here, because since it's a Twilight book, it actually has Edward Cullen on the top, which again, I'm a Twilight fan, so I just love that portion of how it came out. But again, depending on what novel or book you're using will depend on how you want the words to be visible. So you just want to look at the placement of how you want it to be. It doesn't really matter which direction you go, and you're going to meet them at the ends, put it in half, and then do the same thing with the other page. Again, doesn't really matter. Now, if you're worried about how they will go on top of one another, that's where you just want to be careful. The reason I say that is because here you will see my words are I guess readable in one format, and these are upside down. But if you put this the other way, they're both in the same format, where this side they're both upside down. So this is something I just saw when I was working on, I think, my third round of them. So I just wanted to point that out to you in case you were, you know, paying attention to that. That's of interest to you guys. In regards to putting them on top, I think I'm going to put this one on the bottom because there's more words there, and I'm going to put this one on top. And what you really want to do is you want to make the one that's going to go on top smaller than the one that's on the bottom. So how I do that, for example, is I just use my fingers. I see there's a gap here. That gap is what I don't want to be shown. If you want that to be shown, that's fine. And I'm just basically tearing it. I don't really want it to be perfect. That's what I'm going for. If you want it to be perfect, then you can just use scissors. To do the other side, I flip it over, and then I do the same thing. I try to give the same width on both sides of what I'm removing to kind of keep it in a symmetry. So I do that. Now the bottom is your preference. You don't really have to take off the bottom, but if you want, because you don't want a straight edge, then you can do so in the same format. You're just gonna remove the bottom little by little. And so now you basically have the bottom. So when you're gonna put this one on top, you really wanna make this one now to be smaller, right? So we're gonna take off more off the sides and the bottom as the same thing as I did before. So I'm gonna go through the same format. I'm gonna use my fingers. Now I do know that there are certain types of scissors out there, which I do have a bucket of those, but I didn't wanna have like a crinkly cut or a wave cut. That was just what I was not going for. But if that's something you have on hand and that's something you're looking for, by all means, use those. Definitely a lot easier to just go snip snip versus going in this format. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over on the top like this, and now you can see how we have a gap on both sides. And that's mainly just to have like a reference of a break in between the words. Do you really need to have that? No, you don't. It's just something that I think is kind of different. It gives a dimension in my mind. So now we're going to go and cut the bottom to make it shorter. And again, we're going to do the same thing. Now, you could also use these pieces you're taking off. If you like to sew, you could sew through your pieces and give it additional embellishment, and then that way you can have some fun. And if you guys hear the cat in the background meowing, it's because I kicked her out of the craft room because she makes a mess. So I do apologize for that. So now I'm going to explain to you why these paper clips didn't work. So I'm going to have to use these for a different project. And the reason why was because when I put them here on the bigger portion of my cut page from the book, and then I put this on top, because again, we're concealing the paper clip, I realized how bulky it is. I hope you can kind of tell on camera, but if I put it down and I put my glue, you kind of see how thick that becomes. And I didn't really like that. That wasn't something I was a fan of. So then the other paper clips I have on hand, which are basic office paper clips, are much thinner. And because it's going to be in between like a sandwich, and I put this on top, I didn't get that big of a bulk. I mean, there's going to be a bulk regardless. There's nothing you can do about that unless there's flat paper clips that I'm not aware of. But to me at least, I didn't want to have that huge bulk of a paper clip. So before we go ahead and adhere both parts, what I like to do is I like to ink. And you can do one of two steps, whatever works for you. As you can see, my table has a bunch of everything on it. I did come up with some images and things, and I thought it would be kind of cool to put together. So the ones I came up with were these lovely ladies on a ribbon, and I wanted to make them sit on top of that and put winning team. I thought that was kind of cool. And so I'm thinking that I'm gonna go with my vintage photo ink for this kind of concept, although I can pick up a little bit on the blue that's in the ribbon that they're kind of sitting on, or if you just wanted to go with a different color, that is your choice. So what I'm gonna do now is ink up these 2 pages before I glue it down. So the paper is not cardstock. It is flimsy, so it's probably best to use a mat to do the inking. How you want to ink it is going to be your decision and your preference. Just remember that some of it is going to be covered up. You can go heavily, you can go lightly, or not at all. You don't really have to ink anything. But I think it kind of gives it a cool feel to it. And then you want to make sure you flip it over, because you will be doing the back as well if that's your choice, unless you want to leave it blank. You can use, like I said, stencils. I have a stack of them. I haven't attempted those yet completely, but I think it's kind of cool to go through those and see if any of them work as an underlay, I guess would be the appropriate way to say it. And again, we're going to go to the second paper and kind of do the same thing. Now remember, this second paper we're putting on top is really going to be your main visual inking portion than the other one, although the other one's going to have it on the sides. All right, so once we're done with that, then what we're gonna do is we are going to get our paper clip again, and we are going to put it there, and then we are going to put this on top. So what I like to do again is to make sure that it's in the right format that I want it to be. All my words are going the same way. Again, that's if you're picky about that. If it doesn't matter to you, then you do you. And then I'm just gonna lay this on my table. I'm gonna move this up front or flip it up. The glue I'm using is the Craft Precision Burley Art. And I am going to put some in my crease if it decides to come out of the bottle. And then I'm gonna go around the edges. And again, I have a very thin tip here. So if some do seep out, that's okay, I just clean it up. And I just want to kind of give it a good placement of it. And then I'm going to press down. Now, I just want to make sure it gets into all the grooves. And then once that's done, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the other side. Now, you do see there's still glue there that's still wet, and that's okay, because obviously it has to be glued on the other side. And again, I'm just doing it very lightly, and then I'm going to fold it back over, and I'm going to push it down again. Now, it doesn't really matter what side you put your designs on, because I'm going to do it on both sides. So I'm going to start here and put my placement of where I want things to kind of get an idea of how I'm going to adhere them. Do I want it off to the side? Does that matter to me? Am I going to trim it? That kind of thing. So I think that looks cute there. Then my winning team, I thought about putting it down here, but I feel like it would look good like if it was the background like that. So I think that looks really cute. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the winning team because I didn't do that before. And then I am going to adhere them. Now, because the winning team is behind the females, I'm going to probably put that down first. You kind of get an idea of placement. So it looks like to me that we're right underneath the first line there. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And you know, you can kind of do this while you're watching TV. That's kind of like why I like one of these making ephemera bits. I don't have a purpose yet of where I'm putting this. Don't know what journal it's going to go in or what scrapbooking page it will go in. But to have them on hand when I'm ready to do that and say, oh, I remember making this and this would go perfectly. I think that's kind of cool in my mind. So here we're going to look at how I have the placement. And again, I have it right underneath that line, haven't you emailed me yet? So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Now, sometimes if you have things coming off the sides, you do want to make sure of where you're placing your glue. As you saw in my last demonstration with showing you all my stuff, I had glued the pages together. So you don't want to do that. And if you do, you obviously want to break it apart. So there we go. We're going to place that down. And now we're going to put our lovely ladies, just making sure that they're placed where I want them to be. Oh, I probably should have inked that, but that's okay. That is okay. I've inked the other ones, but it seems I got excited sharing this with you guys. So I am going to put them in that little spot and I'm going to push down. And the reason why I'm pushing down is, again, because of the paper clip. There is a bulk there. And I do want to make sure that these lovely ladies are attached to my paper clip. And there we go. Look how cute that is. So now we're going to do the other side. And the other side, I was thinking about, what was I thinking about? Treasure hunt, maybe? I had a thought process in mind and now I completely lost it. Oh, I wanted to do some rub-ons. So I wanted to rub this on, and because I'm going to actually pull from this line right here and separate them, what I'm going to do is I am going to staple them together so that the backing does not separate. So just using my tiny attacher, I'm going to do that. And now I am going to cut apart that one section of, so I don't lose that. And then take this apart. Now I kind of wanted to give them like a platform to sit on. So my thought is putting them there with this on top and put treasure hunt. I don't know why, but it just feels like it could go. So one thing I do want to point out to you is if you are using rub-ons, take into consideration your placement of your paper clip. If you weren't sure if you were doing the rub-on initially and then now you are, I would just take that into consideration in the sense of, you know, is your paper clip going to interfere with you making sure the rub-on adheres? Because you can't get into those little grooves and then break your paper. So if you are going to be using rub-ons, my suggestion is to rub them on in the placement of it before you attach the paper clip on the inside. Or just put the rub-on in an area where the paper clip won't interfere. Just something to think about. So we're going to go ahead and place this. I also have to ink my treasure hunt. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. These guys are so funny. So there is my inked one. And I kind of like it up there, but what we're going to do first is we're going to do the rub-on. Now, these rub-ons with 29th and Market do come with their own bone folder to rub it on. If you don't have a bone folder, or if your thing didn't come with it, because I know the Dollar Tree ones don't, you could just use a popsicle stick. I mean, that's essentially just anything to smooth on the surface. So what I'm going to do is the backing that's on the back here that you see is white is what comes off. And then this clear thing that you see here is what you're going to adhere down with your bone folder. So once you get it to where you want, you just hold it down with your fingers and then just massage it on, I guess, or just push it down. You do want to apply a little bit of pressure. And then you just want to massage it on, going back and forth. Now, I did find that, I don't know if it's because of the age of them, but these I had to apply more pressure than the Dollar Tree ones. And it could be the quality is a lot better. So then when you are done, you're just going to peel off slowly, because if it didn't adhere, you want to put it back on. So you can kind of see some of it's still not coming off the transfer. So again, I'm just gonna go once more, apply a little bit more pressure. And then here we go. So because the white was on the back, I don't know if you've noticed, it didn't really give me that much of a landing that I wanted to. I was hoping for something more vibrant. So let's see. I didn't want to put flowers on them. I guess I could just use a marker. Or I could use a ruler. So this one is from Memoir. And I guess that might be a little bit more fitting. So this one right here, if we put this, maybe I can obviously put it the right way. So you can still see what I just did, so it's not, all right, I like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it off at number 6. And what we're gonna do is we're going to adhere this. I'm gonna put it as a slant. I think that adds more of a dimension to it. And we're gonna glue this down, or should we, let's just give it something, whatever's on my ink blender, if anything comes off. All right, so making sure that it's the right side up, and hopefully my glue didn't dry yet. All right, so we're going to go up on this at a slant. And then we're gonna take these little fellas and have them perch as such. And I think that's so cute. So we're gonna put these little guys down. And then we are going to add its title. Now you don't have to add a title. I just think it adds to the story in my mind. If you want to leave your titles off for when you're actually using the ephemera, then you can do that. Obviously, it's your choice. But it's funny, it says my mommy wrote. So we're gonna cover that up. We're gonna put treasure hunt. Now this glue dries pretty fast, which is what I love. All right, so there is the other side. So what do you guys think? So we have this side winning team. This side is the treasure hunt. I think it came out super cool. So I hope you were inspired by going through your stash and grabbing an old book that you no longer need, and having fun with your crafting stuff that you have lying around, and make something fun. And I hope you have a great day and happy crafting. Thank you for watching.